living fully alive in every way. You're listening to Relationship Prescriptions with Dr. Carol.
Do you ever find yourself wanting more of something, more joy, more healing, more breakthrough? This is Dr. Carol. You're listening to Relationship Prescriptions, and I have a special guest to bring back on the program today, Woodley Auguste. It is great to have you back on the program.
Well, it's great to be with you, Dr. Carol. I know it's been a while. I think the last time we were on the program were together was back before the pandemic began.
Oh, and that has been a number of months now. I think you're right. It has been a while, and so much is changing so fast in the world today. And you and I are talking at a distance. I don't think we haven't even seen each other since before the pandemic.
Yes, much has changed, just as it has with everyone, both professionally and personally. So it's great to be with you today, even though it's virtually. I guess that's social distancing. But I think with all these changes, that has really caused people to really look for changes in themselves. And ultimately, I think they're grappling when it comes to spiritual matters. So, is that how you're seeing things?
Well, yes. I have experienced that myself, and the clients that I talk to, even just the patients that I talk to, and certainly the people I interact with who respond here to our podcast. This season has raised questions that are hard to cover up. We've talked about that off and on, occasionally through the last few months here on the podcast. But when our normal coping mechanisms are stressed or maybe not there anymore, it causes us to perhaps do things differently. And in our spiritual life, I believe that can be a good thing. God can use this kind of disruption to push us in some good ways. It's not that the struggles are unimportant, but looking at what can come out of this, God can use this to push us in some really helpful ways.
Well, I think you touched on something that's important about struggles. From your perspective, why do you think that many people are experiencing these types of challenges where they're, it's not just, I had a bad day at work, but these deep internal or spiritual challenges where it doesn't seem like they're making any headway, or it's they get to the point where they keep hitting the same wall or ceiling, I guess that's a better way to express it, over and over again.
I do hear that a lot, whether it's in marriages that have been struggling with the same problems year after year after year, or people struggling with anxiety or depression, and oftentimes the people I talk with will pray. They believe that God has an answer, but they're just not seeing it. A couple themes that I hear repeatedly is feeling like I've tried the same thing, God's not answering, what am I doing wrong? Not knowing the steps in walking forward toward what God does, what God has for us. I see some people sitting back and praying and waiting for God to do it all, and so frustrated when their prayers don't work. And then there's an area that I am seeing a big issue today, Woodley, and that is the whole area of spiritual warfare. Now, not everything is spiritual warfare, but when you don't incorporate that into your worldview, into your understanding about dealing with problems, you miss a huge aspect of what we as believers are facing in today's world. I think those are some of the reasons why people are feeling stuck. As a doctor, a medical doctor and a doctor of ministry,
mm-hmm.
The all of the above approach I believe, is so important. People tend to look for a single magic fix, one thing that if I do this single thing, everything will be perfect. And most of the time, God's answer for us is including all of the above. It includes prayer, it includes action, it includes addressing the area of spiritual warfare and things around all of that.
So with this, and I know I've fallen in that trap of seeing things strictly through one catalyst, that's going to create this change in my life or in my mindsets. So you're saying that it's actually not, it's a series of things. Is that correct?
God created us as integrated human beings, physically, emotionally, relationally, and spiritually. We're a whole human being. And what disrupts one part of our life disrupts the other parts. And because our problem is usually multifaceted, sin impacts every area of our lives. For instance, to put it simply, the solution, what Jesus has to offer, needs to also impact every area of our lives. And once we've been dealing with a problem for a while, the solution almost always, as I've experienced it myself and see it in other people, means addressing all those different components. And without that, people don't experience forward progress. They don't experience a breakthrough.
So what are some things that you've gleaned from your own experience to experience that shift in mindsets, in spiritual discipline, even in attitudes?
There was a time, number of years ago, over 20 years ago, when I was in some really, really deep distress, just a huge mess. I had been chronically unhappy, and then it further deteriorated into just a pit of life-threatening distress. And as God brought me out of that, I learned several things in these different areas of life. I learned that I could, for example, tell my mind what to do. And I learned how to do that I didn't have to run after every thought and feeling. I learned what it meant to take the executive authority that God had given me over my mind and direct it in certain areas. I learned the whole important area of spiritual warfare. Again, not everything is a matter of spiritual warfare, but I cannot express how life-changing that was to me, to understand the opposition from the kingdom of darkness and how to deal with that in some very daily, fairly simple, practical ways. Just an understanding of that realm and how it impacted me and how Jesus invites us to address that. Those were a few of the really big ideas that truly changed everything for me at that time. And that's been a long time ago now.
Wow. Well, this is powerful. So through this process, you were able to have this shift to take place in your life, and how have things been since?
It has lasted, Woodley. Those experiences have continued to be part of my daily life in the sense of the things I learned in that process that God taught me as He brought me out of that mess have continued to be a part of my daily life ever since. And my life has not been free from problems. There have been some really big things that I have had to face. There was a period of time, for example, when I moved from California to Texas. I thought my medical license was ready, but it wasn't. It was delayed for over 6 months, and I had no income during that period of time. No job, no income of any kind. And that could have thrown me into a pit. And sure, I was stressed, but those principles that I had learned allowed me to make it through that particular challenge without falling apart. I know there are some people right now who are probably listening to us who have lost their job or been furloughed or had their hours cut or had major disruption because of the pandemic in their income.
Absolutely. I think it's all of the above. So with these principles, how can, whether it's our listener or even for even me, have you taken any of this and been able to teach it and let other people learn how to experience this in their own lives?
I have talked about some of these things in our podcast or on our website in various ways, but never before, not until now, have I brought all of this together in one place to actually help people do the things that I did, to learn the things that I learned, and then actually take the actions that I did to experience my breakthrough. I have now brought all this together in an online course experience, Powerful Breakthrough Prayers. And in this course, it's not just information. It's actually walking people through doing the things that I learned to do and that I have continued to do that have kept me in a lifestyle of breakthrough ever since. I want to mention these very same things that I learned were critical when my husband went home to be with the Lord. That grief, his death, was painful. But these principles allowed me to walk through that experience and get to the other side without falling into the pit that I had been in years ago. So whatever the kind of problem our listeners may be dealing with, I know that these things work.
Wow, this is powerful. So is this, excuse me, is this a Bible study? What exactly is this course? What is it comprised of?
There is a lot of Bible in this course, but it doesn't stop there. After I experienced some of these things in my own life, I did some deep scientific study as well, looking at the research that we now know scientifically back up these biblical principles. And I share that in this course. So it absolutely is founded on Scripture. I believe that's always where we as followers of Jesus want to start. But I share with you the fascinating and absolutely powerful scientific foundations that back up these scriptural principles and therefore help us understand even more what action steps we can take here in the 21st century, in the middle of this pandemic and beyond, what the current action steps we can take are to live in the kind of fully alive life that Jesus came to give us. So it's a Bible scientific study, but more than information, it's actions. This is a 5-module, 6-week process where you are actually walked through both the information and the actions to take to put this in your daily life, like I have myself. The actions that I learned and that I still do today, you will learn and you will do them in going through this course.
Wow. So no wonder you are a doctor. So you're combining both the spiritual aspects as well as what we know scientifically or neurologically for our minds and other factors. And you're putting this together. So is this for everyone, or is this specifically for women? I mean, who is this for?
If you've got a problem, this is for you. It's not just for women. It is for anybody who is struggling to make progress and you believe God has the answer, but you're not experiencing it. That's exactly how I felt when I was in the middle of my mess. I had been raised in church. I knew a lot of the stuff in my head. But I prayed and prayed, and God wasn't doing anything, I thought. These things that I learned and that I will teach you in this course actually help you make progress. One principle, and I'll give a tease here, Woodley, about one of the ideas in actually the first module. It's part of module 1. I'll give you a little tease here, that scientific research backs up that instead of waiting for God to do it or trying harder on our own, I do best when I see myself as cooperating with God. There's scripture backing that up. Philippians 2:12 and 13, God works and we work. And I talk about in detail what that scientific research shows. And so seeing yourself as cooperating with God, it helps you take those steps. The power doesn't come from inside you. But God doesn't just doll up healing or breakthrough or power or whatever on top of you. There's a position you need to take. There's steps you need to take. There's ways to cooperate with God so that you can actually experience that fully alive life. And that's what I walk you through, actually doing the daily things to cooperate with God in this course.
So wait a minute. You said something that really struck me and as being quite powerful. So in order for us to experience these changes in our lives, we actually have to be actively involved. It's not merely just saying, a prayer and just throwing it up and hoping, we get an answer or something falls down and boom, it's there. But we're actually getting fully immersed in this process and doing the day-to-day. So I guess in essence, we've got to have some skin in the game. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Think of Jesus and his early followers. Think of what we know in the New Testament. Every human being on earth who was sick would be healed if they came into Jesus' presence. There was no human being who needed deliverance, who needed healing, who came into Jesus' presence and was refused. But they had to come. It wasn't like Jesus, went out and just dolloped his healing on people willy-nilly. People had to connect with him, had to come into his presence. Now, sometimes other people did that on their behalf, like, the centurion or the father whose daughter was sick. When Jesus went back to heaven, he gave his followers instructions in activity. There were things his followers were to do to continue to live in this kind of life. And it wasn't only the 12 apostles. Every follower of Jesus is invited into this active life with him. It's not simply just doing things to make something happen. Remember, the power doesn't come from inside you, but neither is it just sitting back passively and waiting for God to do something. There is a coming together of our spirit and God's spirit. The Holy Spirit working in us energizes us. It's not done without our involvement. We take the steps. We actually walk. We do things in this process of experiencing the abundant life that Jesus promised us. Like in John 10:10, I came that they may have life and have it abundantly. That doesn't drop on us without our involvement. We walk it out.
Okay. Well, I'm interested. So what are the other things that you'll address in this course?
We talk about the biblical characteristics of effective prayer. I know that if you're listening and you've been praying over and over for God to do something, this is going to be an important part for you. What are the aspects of prayer that are actually effective? And as you see this worked out in your own life, your faith will grow. As you see small breakthroughs, your faith will increase. For bigger breakthroughs, you'll see the roadblocks or the short circuits in your life with God that are keeping you stuck. You will understand what spiritual warfare is and what it isn't. Sometimes the whole area of spiritual warfare has been made into kind of a magical thing or a boogeyman, and it gets all weird. But the Bible is very clear. We talk about that in the way that Jesus addressed evil when he was here. You'll learn the signs in your own heart and life that will show you when it's a matter of spiritual warfare and when it's not, and how to tell the difference. And you will actually do the things that will lead you to breakthrough, just like I did in my own life. And more than just a 6-week experience, these are things that can lead to a lifestyle of breakthrough, just like my own life. And the problems that have come to me in the years since my own significant first experience, I've continued to practice that and live in a lifestyle of breakthrough. Sure, God continues to teach me things, but you will learn what it's like to live that kind of a lifestyle through specific daily things that can just be part of your ongoing life with God, so that breakthrough can actually become a way that you live.
So this can become a lifestyle. So through this multiple week course, you're going to provide the tools, and will there be an aspect, will you walk us through this whole process, or?
That's what I'm most excited about. Yes, I am most excited about that. If you join now, I will actually be your spiritual coach and mentor for this 6-week process, personally helping you understand and implement these things. If you join now, you can be part of weekly Zoom calls with me, where I will personally see you, address your questions, and make this real, make it a daily part of your life. I've got to mention too, Woodley, there's an aspect of this that I'm especially excited about, is our 40-day prayer challenge that is part of this course. So yes, there's videos, there's worksheets that help you implement the principles, but then this 40-day prayer challenge comes to your email inbox each day for 40 days. And in there's a prayer, but there's also an action step. Sometimes that action step is internal, sometimes it's external. So for 40 days, you have daily small actions to take that will make this real for you. And then in our weekly Zoom calls, you can talk to me about where you get stuck, what questions you have, if there are parts of implementing this that aren't making sense or that you struggle with. We can address that, and I can be your personal spiritual coach and mentor through this process. I am so excited about that aspect of this course.
I am too. So just the fact that I know that this, for the 6 weeks, that I'm going to be walked through this whole process with you, understand the things that I need to do to implement on a daily basis. And this is 100% online. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. You can access every bit of this digitally.
Every bit digitally. So I don't have to wait in the mail for anything. It just comes straight to me.
Absolutely. When you register, you will get immediate access to all the course modules, the videos, the downloadable worksheets, and the invitation to the first Zoom call with me. You will all get that immediately. So there's no waiting in the mail. You don't have to, expect any physical product. You can access it all immediately online.
Wow. This is amazing. I'm just completely thrilled by this. Just the fact that having someone to be able to walk me through this whole process of really getting these answers. And as you said, it's with any aspect of our lives. So whether it's a relationship, whether it's a challenge that, professional challenge, a personal challenge, we're able to just unpack all of this and really get the answers and not go back to the way things were.
One of the things that I encourage our course enrollees to do is to pick one or maybe two problems to walk through this course with. And then once you experience and actually take these steps, do the things in relation to that one problem, you can then apply it to other areas of your life. So this can apply whether your problem is financial, whether it's a marriage problem, maybe you're single and wrestling with relationships, maybe you're struggling with sexual issues. That's a big deal for people during this pandemic. Maybe it's anxiety, fear, depression. That was a big part of my own journey. Whatever area is stopping you from the fully abundant life that Jesus came to give us, whatever your presenting problem is, then bring that to this course and we'll walk you through experiencing your breakthrough. Okay, well, how do I get it? Where do I have to go? PowerfulBreakthroughPrayers.com. No dots or anything in the middle. PowerfulBreakthroughPrayers.com. You can find out more information there. There's a way you can ask for more information if it's not clear, and you can register right there on that page. And I want to just come right out and invite our listeners to do that. I cannot wait to start walking this through with you and help you and hear about you experiencing your breakthrough. So, PowerfulBreakthroughPrayers.com. We'll make sure that link is also in the show notes to this episode. So do that now. Don't wait any longer. Don't stay stuck any longer. Let's experience breakthrough together. I'm excited about this, Dr. Carol, and I'm looking forward to joining you on this. I know that there's some areas of my life that I really need to experience this. So this is going to be really, really exciting just to hear, what's going to take place in people's lives, when they finish this 6-week course and really get the answers that they're looking for. Mm-hmm. Well, I want to thank you, Woodley, for being here on our program today and helping us unpack the kind of breakthrough that people can experience. This is something new that we are doing here with Dr. Carol Ministries that has me so energized because I believe with all my heart, I know that these steps will work for you. That I don't have any question about that at all. And I just want to see people experience this fully alive life for themselves. So once again, PowerfulBreakthroughPrayers.com. And I will see you there. Thank you for being part of our podcast family. And we'll see you again next time. God bless you.
Thank you for listening to Relationship Prescriptions with Dr. Carol. Our purpose is to provide trustworthy resources that help you and others live fully alive in every way as God intended. If you would like to help others experience transformation in their lives and relationships, we invite you to partner with us. Text the word GIVE, that's GIVE, to the number 512-980-1620. Or visit our website at drcarolministries.com/donate to make a one-time contribution or monthly gift. Your financial support allows us to expand our message and to help others. Thank you so much, and may God bless you.